I did the wrong thing, and I'm getting punished for it. So I want y'all to know that you actually get punished for doing wrong things. Just do the right thing.
In real-time footage, we see the aftermath of Savannah rapper Quando Rondo's sentencing to serve time behind bars. Shockingly, the streets are bidding farewell to Quando Rondo forever. Are you wondering what happened to the Savannah rapper while he's incarcerated? Stay with me to find out. In a surprising turn of events, Georgia rapper Quando Rondo will be spending his Christmas behind prison bars. It's a tragic way to end the year for the artist who began it as a free man, despite his rising legal troubles. Amid efforts by authorities to clean up rap culture's decadence, Quando Rondo was sentenced to 33 months in federal prison. The sentencing by Judge R. Stan Baker concludes a federal case that began about a year ago. Judge Baker emphasized that the Savannah-born rapper must serve more than 2 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. According to reports, Rondo narrowly avoided a fine of up to $40,000 as part of his punishment. The news sent shockwaves through the industry, leaving fans wondering about the details of the case. Quando Rondo's sentencing is tied to a drug-related case he's been battling for the past year. His real name, Tykeon Bowman, surfaced in connection with charges that could have led to a 5-year prison sentence. However, in August, he struck a plea deal with the U.S. Department of Justice. Under this agreement, he pleaded guilty only to a marijuana-related charge, allowing other drug-related charges to be dropped. These included serious accusations of conspiracy to possess and distribute methamphetamine, cocaine, fentanyl, and marijuana. Had he been convicted of the original charges, Bowman could have faced up to 20 years in prison. The lesser charge carried a maximum sentence of 5 years, but his defense lawyer did not immediately comment on the outcome. During the sentencing, the judge considered Quando Rondo's renouncement of gang involvement, though he had previously been affiliated with a gang. Judge Baker described the situation as a sophisticated conspiracy, yet prosecutors argued that Rondo remains a role model in his community. U.S. Attorney Bradley Thompson recommended a 37-month sentence and a $50,000 fine, hoping to set a strong example and inspire the rapper to stay on a better path. Prosecutors noted that children look up to Rondo, which adds weight to his responsibility. A particularly shocking detail of the case is that Quando Rondo reportedly sold marijuana in packages with QR codes linking to his music, a bold marketing strategy. It's almost impressive how he connected his supply with his art, ensuring customers could get high while listening to his tracks. Despite this, his attorney, Tom Withers, requested a reduced 24-month sentence, citing the evolving legal perspective on marijuana in the U.S. The lawyer assured the court that Rondo was distancing himself from gang activity to focus on giving back to his community. He also highlighted the rapper's challenging childhood, explaining how Rondo overcame hardships to discover his passion for music as a teenager. In 2019, Quando Rondo spent time in juvenile detention centers and later served months in a county jail before being bailed out. During his teenage years, he became involved in gang activities and joined the Savannah and Atlanta subset of the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips. For those unfamiliar, the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips are part of the Street Gang Alliance, originating in Hyde Park, Los Angeles, around 1976 as an offshoot of the West Side Crips. According to Wikipedia, this gang has an estimated membership of about 1,600, making it the largest street gang in Los Angeles. Members often identify themselves by wearing Seattle Mariners or Chicago White Sox logos and marking their territories with graffiti. Quando Rondo's lawyer highlighted his tough childhood, including being scalded with an iron as an infant and growing up in a foster home. Despite these hardships, the rapper has managed to make a name for himself in the music industry. After the sentencing hearing, a high-spirited Quando Rondo was welcomed outside the court by his family and friends, who gathered to show their support. In court, the Savannah rapper made a personal statement, taking full responsibility for his actions and expressing acceptance of the judgment handed down.
I did the wrong thing, and I'm getting punished for it. So I want y'all to know that you actually get punished for doing wrong things. Just do the right.
After the sentencing hearing, Quando Rondo told reporters that he plans to use his time behind bars for rehabilitation. Speaking to WJCL 22 News, the rapper expressed gratitude for the sentencing, stating it would provide him with an opportunity to reflect on his life choices and work on improving his relationship with the community.
Crazy as it sounds, that's enough time to really sit down, rehabilitate myself, come up with some better plans, come out and move forward for my family and friends.
Quando Rondo also shared his intention to do something meaningful and inspiring for his fans. He expressed a desire to become a better role model, particularly for the young people who look up to him and consider themselves his supporters.
Could do something way more better and positive and show the kids this is cool. Going to school is cool. Playing football from Little League to middle school to high school is cool. Doing the right thing and walking down the right path is cool.
It seems Quando Rondo has high hopes for his future in the music industry. When asked about what lies ahead, he confidently stated, "Platinum records, diamond records, and more money." As part of his sentencing, after serving time in federal prison, Rondo will undergo 3 years of supervised release, pay a $440,000 fine, participate in mental health treatment, submit to routine drug tests, and refrain from associating with known gang members. His sentence is set to begin on January 10, 2025, at either FCI Jessup or FCI AEL, upon reporting to the Bureau of Prisons. Interestingly, fans have reacted positively to his energy following the verdict. One supporter commented, "I'm proud of him. I forgot he was in trouble. I don't think he'll do all of his time. He literally made a 160, I would say 180, but he still has a little to work on. When he gets out, he'll make a complete turnaround." However, not all responses have been encouraging. Another user sarcastically remarked, "He just now realized if you do wrong, you get punished. How ignorant." Some fans view his actions as reckless. One pointed out that despite narrowly escaping legal trouble and dangerous encounters with rappers like King Von, Rondo failed to avoid further issues. The comment read, "This dude is stupid to me. He avoided death, his career was thriving, and he was free after all that. Now he's ending up in jail like everyone else. That's stupid to me. What a waste of talent, just like many young rappers in the game." Rondo's history of run-ins with the law, combined with his mounting legal issues, has drawn significant scrutiny. While some fans believe his marijuana charges were a cover for deeper crimes, others think his prison sentence might be a strategy to remove him from the streets for his own safety. Such conspiracy theories are gaining traction online. During his sentencing, Southern District of Georgia U.S. Attorney Bradley Thompson referred to Rondo's lyrics, alleging they reflected his gang involvement. Thompson highlighted details in a recent song that appeared to align with the track "Life Goes On," further fueling speculation about the rapper's lifestyle. In one of his recent songs, Quando Rondo rapped about the tragic incident that claimed the life of his brother, Lil Pop. In the music video, the rapper released blue and white balloons to honor his cousin, Sava Robinson, known as Lil Pop on the streets, who was killed in a murder-for-hire plot at a Los Angeles gas station. This incident allegedly targeted Quando Rondo. While using music lyrics and videos as evidence in court remains controversial, it has become a growing trend in recent years, notably seen in cases like Young Thug's YSL RICO trial. In November, Grammy-winning rapper and OTF music boss Lil Durk faced charges in an alleged murder-for-hire plot targeting Quando Rondo, which resulted in Lil Pop's death. Prosecutors claimed the blue and white balloons were symbolic of the Gowing street gang, suggesting Rondo's ongoing gang affiliations. They used his music and visual symbolism to argue he remains an active gang member. Records indicate that Rondo has been linked to the Rollin' 60s neighborhood Crips, a connection further supported by a grand jury indictment on June 14th. The indictment accused Quando Rondo of conspiracy to violate the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, violating the Street Gang Terrorism Act, illegal use of communication facilities, and other conspiracy charges. Prosecutors alleged that Rondo, as a member of the Rollin 60s, sought assistance from fellow gang members for firearms and setting up a marijuana sale. While his federal charges primarily focused on drug-related offenses, the state case painted a picture of deeper gang involvement, attempting to label him as a leader of the Rollin 60s.
Basically, the feds just doubled down on his case. He already had it as a state case, and then it just became federal. I believe the Fed case was just like selling weed. Now, the state case, they're trying to say that he's a leader of the Rollin 60s Crips. He's using communication devices to set up sales and this and that.
1090. Jake explained that Quando Rondo was arrested and federally charged as part of a larger investigation, with prosecutors claiming he is the leader of the Rollin 60s Crips gang. Initially facing state charges, Rondo now faces federal charges, including selling drugs and using communication devices to facilitate sales, along with some involvement in firearms. Interestingly, the federal case didn't focus on his gang affiliation, but instead on his drug sales. Rondo, known for his collaborations with NBA YoungBoy, had previously renounced his ties to the Rollin 60s Crips, leading to speculation about whether the charges are based on recent activities or tied to his past. 1090 Jake believes that Rondo likely distanced himself from the gang to protect his safety and career.
Rondo has renounced his neighborhood Crip status. You could just do that? You can just be like, I'm out. This was fun, but I'm done.
Yeah, you can, but the technical way to do it is, go get put off, but
is he's not even like from here, so is that even a thing?
I don't know how Atlanta politics are.
Let me break this down for you. When most people hear Georgia, they think of Atlanta, but the reality is that Atlanta is quite different from the rest of the state. For example, Atlanta's economic growth and development stand in stark contrast to Savannah, where Quando Rondo hails from. Savannah is located on the east end of Georgia, right by the ocean, but it's far from a beach paradise. In the 1920s, Savannah thrived as an industrial hub, but over time, its manufacturing industry declined, and the city turned to tourism for survival. I had to double-check this, but apparently in 2022, over 17 million people visited the Savannah-Chatham County area, generating more than $4 billion in spending. However, the average income in Savannah is only $28,000 a year, which is hardly enough to cover basic living costs, especially in places like California. But here's the thing. When the average person makes just $28,000 a year, the crime rate naturally increases. This explains why Savannah has produced some of the most notorious figures on the streets. Unlike the East and West Coasts, gang operations in Savannah differ. A significant portion of the population lives below the poverty line, and the distinction between the hood and wealthier areas isn't as clear-cut. The streets are so tough that talented young boys with a passion for rap often find themselves caught up in a life that doesn't allow them to flourish. This is the environment in which Quando Rondo grew up. On top of his tough surroundings, his family life was equally chaotic, leaving a lasting impact on him. Born in 1999, Quando Rondo had a rough start in the Westlake projects. His home life was so unstable that he ended up in CPS care. From there, he bounced around foster homes, which instilled in him a sense of loneliness. At the age of 11, while staying with his aunt, he got into a fight with his cousin, and things escalated. His aunt called the cops, and he ended up spending 7 days in juvenile detention. This early introduction to the justice system would foreshadow many future encounters with law enforcement. By age 13, Quando Rondo reportedly cut off his ankle monitor and began breaking into houses, taking whatever he needed to survive. Like many kids without parental support, the streets became his home. It seemed the streets were looking out for him, though. In 2010, some of Los Angeles' biggest ballers, many of whom were Rollin 60s Crips members, moved to Georgia, where business was booming. Over time, these gang members began to have a significant influence on the street culture in Savannah, further shaping Quando Rondo's path. As more Los Angeles gang members moved to Georgia, they brought their colors with them. The first area to rep the Rollin 60s in Georgia was Keiko, and the group grew to over 1,000 members in the hood. In fact, many of Atlanta's top rappers are documented members of the Rollin' 60s Crips. Street businesses spread quickly, and as a result, the Rollin' 60s influence spread to Savannah, particularly to the west and south sides of the county, areas where Quando Rondo grew up. By then, Quando Rondo was old enough and actively seeking a place in the streets, waiting for an opportunity to join the gang that had taken over the city. In 2014, that opportunity came when Quando Rondo was locked up with another teenager named Caffey Murphy. The two quickly became close friends and planned to take over the streets of Savannah. However, before they could act on their plans, something happened that changed everything. After they were released from jail, Quando Rondo found out that Caffey had stolen a tool from his apartment and planned to sell it. When Rondo found out, he immediately went after Caffey, who was trying to sell it to someone else. Caffey contacted an older individual, Alan Moore, to help with the deal. The next day, they met up with the buyer, Norman Juki KY Jr., but the transaction took a violent turn. A fight broke out, and Caffey was shot and killed. Juki was sentenced to life for the crime, but it didn't ease Quando Rondo's pain. Instead, it hardened him. And when he got out, he sought another weapon, only to be caught again and sent back to detention. After multiple run-ins with juvenile detention, Quando Rondo eventually found a focus: music. A video surfaced of him freestyling while banging beats from a car, which went viral on Instagram. His talent caught the attention of Atlanta rapper Lil Baby, who was connected to Rondo through the Rollin' 60s Crips. In 2018, Quando Rondo recorded a track with Lil Baby, marking the beginning of his mainstream success. But back in Savannah, the Rollin' 60s had taken full control of the streets. Given his troubled past and rise to fame, many found it hard to believe that someone like Quando Rondo would be caught selling weed. However, Quando Rondo himself claimed in an interview that he was prepared to serve his time in jail, fully aware of the consequence.
To do that time in your head?
Man, I'm too solid to fall.
Yeah.
Well prepared.
During an interview, Quando Rondo openly discussed his ongoing legal troubles, including a guilty plea in a federal case involving marijuana distribution. Although the rapper was facing a possible 5-year prison sentence, he received a sentence of 33 months. The interview also covered Quando Rondo's personal transformation, highlighting his conversion to Islam and his commitment to sobriety after being drug-free for over a year. Reflecting on his past struggles with substance abuse, which began at 16, the 25-year-old rapper expressed newfound clarity and determination, aiming to inspire younger generations to avoid life-threatening drug use. Quando Rondo stated that he was at peace with everyone, hoping for a meaningful life moving forward, but acknowledged that there was one last issue: an unresolved feud with the OTF, which led to the arrest and detention of Lil Durk and 5 other OTF members. The rivalry between OTF and Quando Rondo traces back to their associations with King Von, who was close to Lil Durk, and Quando Rondo's ties to NBA YoungBoy. This fueled the conflict between the two camps. The tension between Lil Durk and NBA YoungBoy was well known in the music industry and extended to their artists. The events of November 6, 2020 began like any other for King Von and his entourage, who were at the Monaco Hookah Lounge in Atlanta, a popular nightlife spot. Quando Rondo and his crew were also there, and the atmosphere quickly escalated. A disagreement broke out between the two groups, and surveillance footage captured the moment King Von approached Quando Rondo outside the nightclub, throwing the first punch and sparking a violent brawl between the two entourages. The situation quickly spiraled out of control, with punches flying and chaos ensuing. During the altercation, Timothy L. Lil Tim Leaks, an associate of Quando Rondo, allegedly pulled out a gun and shots were fired, hitting King Von multiple times. Despite efforts by his crew to rush him to safety, King Von was critically injured and taken to the hospital, where he later died. Lil Tim was arrested at the scene and charged with the murder of King Von, but he was released on a $100,000 bond, which sparked outrage among King Von's supporters. Quando Rondo, who was present during the incident, strongly denied any involvement in the shooting, maintaining that he and his crew were simply defending themselves. Following the deadly incident, Lil Tim faced charges for murder, but despite being released on bond, he was expected to stand trial for the crime. However, in a surprising twist, on August 21, 2023, Lil Tim's attorney, Noah Pines, released a statement saying all charges against his client were dropped. The statement revealed that the case against Lil Tim had been dismissed before it even reached an indictment. Prosecutors believed King Von's death was an act of self-defense, and with the charges dropped, Lil Tim and his team were able to breathe a sigh of relief. After Lil Tim's release and the dismissal of the charges, he and the rest of Quando Rondo's crew celebrated in the streets. Lil Tim even released a song and music video where he rapped about the court's verdict, making his feelings clear. The lyrics included lines like, "Just got a collect call from New Pluto. Yesterday he said he on the way. We said he catching plays. I told him about my good news. I'm about to beat this case. I really came from the bottom feeling like I'm Drake." Unfortunately for Lil Durk and King Von's supporters, the dismissal of the charges against Lil Tim meant that King Von couldn't get justice through the legal system, and many turned to the streets for retribution. Rumors also spread that Quando Rondo had attempted to take King Von's chain after the shooting, but Quando strongly denied these allegations. He accused people of spreading false information and clout chasing, insisting that no one would be thinking about taking a chain during a shootout.
I'm not even sure, ma'am. But a chain, ma'am, ma'am, when they come to jewelry, ma'am, only people with bad intentions who clout chasing and stuff looking to try to take a nigga chain. Ma'am, a $50,000-$60,000 chain, ma'am, like a nigga go buy that. That's $50,000-$60,000, like that's not nothing.
In the aftermath of King Von's death, Quando Rondo and his camp faced heavy scrutiny. Many fans and fellow artists blamed him for the tragic events, and despite the backlash, he remained defiant. Concerts were canceled, and he received numerous threats, yet he continued to release music and maintain his innocence. In a controversial move, Quando Rondo gifted Lil Tim, Timothy Leaks, an expensive watch, which many saw as a show of loyalty and support. This act intensified the animosity between Quando Rondo's camp and King Von's supporters. On Instagram, Quando posted a story with a picture of two luxury watches, one with black details and the other with blue, tagging Lil Tim's account. This gesture clearly signaled that the second watch was a gift for the man accused of shooting King Von. While some people admired Lil Durk for not seeking revenge and escalating the violence in the rap culture, others speculated that Durk was moving underground, quietly plotting a different course of action, like a green snake in green grass. This created further tension between the camps, with both sides preparing for the ongoing drama in their own ways.
Durk has been locked up in Broward County Jail. He's there right now. This is this. Yes, Broward. He's in Florida. I got the whole thing on. Look on my stream. I got it. Oh my God, bro.
In a shocking turn of events, rapper Lil Durk, whose real name is Durk Banks, was arrested and is facing federal charges for an alleged murder-for-hire plot connected to the death of El Pap, who is Quando Rondo's cousin. DJ Academics was one of the first to break the news, tweeting that Lil Durk was arrested by U.S. Marshals and held in Broward County Correctional Facility. He is expected to be extradited to California for the charges. The federal charge alleges that Lil Durk orchestrated a murder-for-hire plot leading to the death of El Pap in 2022. The indictment also mentions that the accused individuals, believed to be members of Durk's OTF crew, traveled across state lines to carry out the attack on Quando Rondo's circle. Prosecutors claim this attack was in retaliation for the 2020 death of rapper King Von, a close friend of Durk's. The charges tie back to the ongoing feud between the two camps, with Lil Durk allegedly ordering the 2022 shooting as a form of revenge for King Von's killing. This development is part of a larger indictment that links Durk and his crew to criminal activities surrounding these tragic events.